Hey, thanks for coming back. Time to find what's right in the world on Good News Tuesday, bringing you more positive headlines on statistically the worst day of the week. Now, if you're a Mariners fan, you know what I'm doing, right? Right? You know this. If you're a Mariners fan, you know I have a shoe on my head. And if you don't know why I have a shoe on my head, this must be totally ridiculous. Since the dawn of time, rally caps have been a thing in baseball. When your team needs a lift, fans turn to all kinds of things to try to turn fortune into favor and jumpstart the vibe of whatever team they're rooting for. This is exactly what happened with the Mariners this weekend against the Blue Jays. One random fan started with a Birkenstock on his head. Others followed at the Seattle watch party, and the Mariners came back from an 8-1 deficit, advancing to the American League Division Series for the first time since 2001. This is not good news, this is great news. To take this a bit further, manager Scott Servais, he's been just phenomenal on this stretch. He said after the game, "Adversity doesn't make character, it reveals it." And he talks about all the grit and things that seem to be keeping this young team together and hungry for more. Hats off, shoes off to you, manager Scott Servais, and to all the Mariners and Mariners fans. Who knows how far this team can go. Go Mariners. All right, now that we've put that aside, had to get that out of my system, how about some other good news? Shifting gears a bit on the topic of saving our planet. This gigantic ship in the Mediterranean Sea north of Egypt is helping humans get off foreign oil and harness the sun for power. The new Gregi interconnection will run from northern Egypt to Greece, bringing 2,000 megawatts of renewable energy. The project is taking advantage, of course, of the huge amount of solar sun energy in the Sahara Desert in North Africa. It's also helping Europe get off of its dependence on Russian energy, which we all know is very volatile right now. This is actually a really big test and a way for the rest of the world to maybe try other things to get us off foreign oil and just oil in general. Back here in the Pacific Northwest, it's been kind of a tough year for salmon, specifically their migration patterns. Salmon are a critical part of the ecosystem and is really seen as a barometer to the health of our entire environment. Now, this last summer in the Northwest was the hottest and driest we've ever experienced. So the rivers have been awfully low, and too low for salmon to run upstream and do their spawning thing. So maybe you're asking, what's the good news again? Well, the Washington Cedar-Sammamish Watershed Salmon Recovery Council said they're seeing good numbers of fish passing through the locks, and a large migration of salmon is expected. That's some really good news compared to the numbers we've seen in recent years. And we're now starting to see fish in our local waterways. Better late than never. Good news to see the salmon running again. Now, if you're a huge Back to the Future fan, which I am, an unreal moment happened this weekend I had to point out in Good News Tuesday. Not just for movie fans, but fans of these two men. Christopher Lloyd, who played Doc in the movie, and Michael J. Fox, who played Marty. They were reunited in New York City at Comic-Con. Fox, of course, battling Parkinson's. He's been a very out-front figure in this fight. The fans obviously felt the moment. You can sense the love between these two iconic actors. Absolutely loved this moment. I love to see these two guys getting back together. And finally, as we start moving indoors for these late fall and winter months after this incredible stretch of weather we've had in the Northwest, you need a reminder. Keep your head held high. You're doing great. Some tips for you to do so. PositiveNews.com posted some great ideas for you to do this. Number one, which I really love, practice gratitude. This is something we do with our kids every night. We ask, what are you grateful for? Kind of helps you go throughout the day, helps remind you of how lucky we all are, really. Meditation is an incredible tool. I've learned a little bit about this. I'm not saying you have to be this guy, but find time for inner peace. No screens, no noise, just let your brain get out of here. Plan a trip. Have something to look forward to. Maybe it's just a quick staycation with some friends, or just to get away. And lastly, lean into nature. Lean into nature. I love this idea. I posted this video on our channel called Friluftsliv. It was this Scandinavian mantra that I have been buying into. It's something you should think about. Check out the link to the Friluftsliv video in this post. There's some really great tips for you. All right, that's all I got for Good News Tuesday this week. As always, email me, jwittenberg@king5.com, with any thoughts or considerations. Work hard, play hard. We'll see you right back here next week. Have a good day.